This can't be real. What? These are the first moments of the second day. This is how the morning in St. Moritz begins with a new Koenigsegg Jesko on the streets, and it's very slippery here. After the two black Jeskos from Garage yesterday, we have another one from Essa here this morning. And this looks a little bit more special with the colors, with the orange and the Swedish flag on top. So now hello from St. Moritz, from the lake here, from the ice. The Koenigsegg Jesko in the morning was a quite cool surprise. But today it's all about the Concours Cars. I will show all the Concours Cars and tell something about the cars. And of course we will see some cars besides the event, some random spots I will show you as well. So have fun. This is a stunning lineup, but one very special car is not going on the ice today. That's a shame. I will tell you later, and I tell you more about the car and why it's not on ice, and it's really a shame.
In the first class of racing legends, we begin with the 1928 Bentley 4.5-liter Le Mans, an almost 100-year-old endurance race car that came to St. Moritz from its home in Yorkshire. The 1952 Pegaso Z102B is one of 3 factory lightweight competition coupes. This example is the only one that qualifies for the Monaco Grand Prix 1952, but unfortunately was withdrawn due to braking and heating issues. This Ferrari 250 SWB Competizione has a rich racing history as well as a turbulent past. After it raced with an exchange engine and later with a Drogo bodywork, it finally found back to its originals after restoration. It is said to be the most successful 2-seater race car from England, the Lola T70. And this chassis number, SL70/3, is the first one ever built. It has a moving race history with highs and lows, mainly in the US. The livery on this Porsche 904 was designed by artist Daniel Arsham and Mai Ikuzawa, daughter of Tetsu Ikuzawa, a Japanese racing driver of the 1960s to 80s and founder of the Ikuzawa race team. On the ice, the car will be driven by NASCAR driver Jimmy Johnson.
Yep, you got it.
Is this a real Shelby Cobra? Yes, it is. And it's one of 3 Shelby Cobra 427s being assembled by Ford Advanced Vehicles in Slough, first delivered to a Swiss gentleman racer. The Abarth 2000 Sport Spider has been raced by former F1 driver Arturo Merzario and was the winning car of the 1970 European Hill Climb Championship. Merzario is a regular guest at the ice and will steer the Abarth tomorrow on the ice again. The Porsche 908/03 was a feared opponent of the mighty Ferrari 512M, despite way lower performance figures. It won the Targa Florio and the 1000 kilometers of the Nürburgring. Lightweight is everything. The racing history of the Lamborghini Countach LP500S is a bit different to the others in the class. It did not participate in any races, but was the pace car of the Monaco Grand Prix 1981 and 82, as the livery tells you. Now let's switch to the open-wheelers with the Bugatti Type 37A, which had its first racing appearance in 1929 at the Irish International GP for the Phoenix Trophy. Since 1991, it is stored at the Nürburgring Museum. The Bugatti Type 59 marks the last try of Bugatti being successful in Grand Prix racing. In the early 30s it has been developed to counteract the strength-gaining German competitors from Audi and Mercedes. But the plan didn't work out. The Maserati 250F was considered one of the finest and most enduring F1 cars of its time. One of the most famous 250F driver was Juan Manuel Fangio. Chassis number 1 of the Ferrari F500/625 was a successful Grand Prix racer in 1952 and 53, with Alberto Ascari, Mike Hawthorne, Piero Taruffi and Luigi Villoresi behind the wheel. In the same period, the Frazer-Nash Le Mans Replica Mark II raced in various races, and no, it's not a replica, this is the name of the car. The Cooper T45 was the first car to use rear-mounted engines in the F1. Due to smaller displacement, it had no chance against the bigger 2.5-liter engines, but it was a pioneer in the Formula One history. This is the last of 4 Aston Martin DB4 built for the F1 Championship of 1959. The original 2.5-liter engine was later replaced by a bigger 3-liter engine. In 1968, the car dominates historic racing in the UK, winning 30 out of 34 races. In 1963 and 64, this Lotus 24 took part in several GPs in Europe and America. Twelve units were ever built as a continuation and improvement of the Lotus 21. 7 with Climax V8, 5 with the BRM V8. Speaking of Lotus, this is the Lotus 12 from 1956, the first ever single-seater open-wheeler designed by the legendary Colin Chapman. It originally featured a 1.5-liter 4-cylinder Coventry Climax engine with 140 horsepower. Next category is concept cars and one-offs. Like the Bugatti Type 57G tank, the first international winner car for Bugatti after winning Le Mans 1937 and 39. Only 3 tanks were ever made, of which one survived the Second World War, and it is not this one. So I wonder why this replica is on the show. Under this elegant body by Giuseppe Aprile lies a real race car. Born as an Alfa Romeo 6C 750 Zagato Spider, the car got a huge glow-up after its racing career in 1938. After Second World War it resides almost untouched in Liguria, Italy, until today. Shown at the 1950 Paris Motor Show, this was the third of 3 Ferrari 166 Inters, fitted with a cabriolet body by Stabilimenti Farina. After it was found in poor condition on a scrapyard 1964, it fortunately was rebuilt and later restored to its original configuration until 2019. The Abarth 1000 record Pininfarina is one of 3 Alfa record cars. This one, owned by the Real Pearl Collection, participated last year but has not been on the lake because the event has been cancelled. Spoiler, it won't drive on the lake this year neither. Actually, this car has got no name, but only a chassis number. Generally, it's a Lancia Flavia Sport Corsa Zagato, but some unique extras that qualifies it for the one-off category. At least this Lancia has racing history. For the Torino Auto Show 1969, Nuccio Bertone needed a concept car, the Auto Bianchi Runabout Bertone. Inspired by Little Yard, the Runabout bases on a Fiat 128. Just with the front engine transferred to the back. It only weighs 730 kilograms. This is the Ferrari 365 GTC4 Fellback beach car. As the name suggests, it's based on the Ferrari 365 GTC Coupe and was rebodied by Michelotti for a special customer, the Sheikh Khalifa bin Hamad Al Thani, Emir of Qatar. But the Sheikh cancelled his order and so the car went to Geneva Motor Show 1976. Another car that was in St. Moritz 1 year before, the Audi Quattro Group S. Practically a sport quattro, with the engine being put into the back. The two produced units sadly never got the chance to race in the Rally Championship. The next category, Barchettas on the lake. It's dominated by Ferraris, but let's start with the Talbot Lago T26 GS. The car was guest to several shows and concourses, including Pebble Beach in 2019, where it won the French Cup. The only not red Ferrari Barchetta of the show is the 340 MM, a stunning concours-level restored example that participated in the 24 Hours of Le Mans 1951. This V12-powered Ferrari 375 MM is the first of 15 ever built. It took part in the 1954 and 55 edition of the Mille Miglia and drove to victory in the 1953 12 Hours of Casablanca. The Aston Martin DB3S 115 was delivered new to California to its first owner, Joe Lubin, in 1956. The fourth owner was Alan Selby, who kept the car for 43 years. Since 2017, it resides at its sixth owner. Probably the most expensive Ferrari of the show is the 857 Monza. Technically, the car is an improvement to the more known 720 Monza. Instead of a 3-liter engine, the 857 was equipped with a 3.4-liter inline 4-cylinder with 280 horsepower. Germany is represented in the Barchetta group by the Porsche 550 Spider. With a small 1.5-liter 4-cylinder mid-engine and only 550 kilograms of weight, it was often beating significantly more powerful rivals in races. The 1956 Ferrari 500 TR Spider by Scaglietti was sold by RM Sotheby's in 2023 for 3.7 million euros. It is the third of 17 units and was first owned by Prince Gaetano Starabati Giardinelli. Another contestant from last year is the Talbot Maserati 250S. One of two racing specials built on the tubular frame of the Talbot Lago 2500 Sport with a 2.5-liter Maserati Straight 6. It raced big races like the 24 Hours of Le Mans. This Maserati 200 SI began its racing career in 1957 at the 12 Hours of Sebring, just 1 month after being delivered. The SI stands for Sport International, referring to adjusted international regulations. We had already the Ferrari 500 TR, this is the 500 TRC, Testarossa Competizione, the last 4-cylinder sports racer by Ferrari. This chassis, 0670 MDTR, entered many races including 5 times the Targa Florio. Though not in the one-off category, there is only one unit of this Ferrari 196S Dino Fantuzzi Spider. Dino was the nickname of Enzo Ferrari's son Alfredino, who passed away at young age. The 196S's 6-cylinder was his last big project. Last Barchetta is the McLaren M1A Oldsmobile. Some might know this livery from a McLaren Elva. And yes, the Elva is tribute to this exact car. The first ever McLaren customer car. In the movie Spin Out, it has been driven by rock and roll star Elvis Presley. Last class is the Icon on Wheels category. Remember the Bentley 4.5-liter that came from Yorkshire? Funny parallel. This Bentley 4.5-liter open tourer was first delivered to a businessman in Yorkshire. The Mercedes-Benz 720 SSK had its race debut in 1927 on the newly opened Nürburgring, where Caracciola and Rosenberger came first and second. But then, as a standard 720S, the car was later converted into an SS and finally into a shorter SSK. The third and last Bentley is a Speed 6, the performance variant of the 6.5-liter. Not exactly this car, but another Speed 6 won Le Mans 1929 and 1930, both times with possibly the most famous Bentley boy, Wolf Bernato. The Triumph Dolomite 8C is said to be a copy of the Alfa Romeo 8C 2300, and therefore also called the English Alfa. Only 2 units were ever built. This car that somehow looks like a Fiat is in fact an Aston Martin speed model Type C. By 1938, just before Second World War, 8 unsold speed model chassis were transformed into speed model Type C and then raced in Le Mans among other races. This is number 19 of 21 produced Ferrari 250 Europa Coupe by Pininfarina. After the original Grigio Metallizzato painted car was displayed at Paris Motor Show 1954, it was shipped to its first owner in Mexico, Juan Salgado Almazan of Toluca. Zagato is known for beautiful coach building going hand in hand with racing performance. Best example is the Alfa Romeo 1900 Zagato with double bubble roof and super light aluminium twin cam 4-cylinder engine. Less than 40 units have been built. The Lancia Aurelia B24 Spider, a true fun car of the 1950s. Open roof and a 2.5-liter 6-cylinder engine with 118 horsepower. A daily convertible that went 185 km per hour was a game changer that days and a sought-after classic car today. Undoubtedly one of the most beautiful cars of all time is the Aston Martin DB4 GT Zagato. Only 19 units were produced, and this is one of 8 left-hand drive versions. The car belongs to a German collector who last year attended the ICE with a Ferrari 250 California Spider. Next to the Zagato, the normal DB4 cannot catch up. 1,100 units were built, but this one stands out with a striking light blue paintwork. Though I am more fan of the long wheelbase version, this Ferrari 250 California Spider SWB is equal rare and interesting. It's the 55th of 56 short wheelbase Californias and only one of 19 with the open headlights. The Ferrari 275 GTB4 is a beautiful V12 machine from Maranello, even more adorable in its color scheme Rosso Rubino over beige. And the yellow headlamps give a little French touch to it. Today Horacio Pagani owns this Italian masterpiece. No concours of elegance without a Miura. Back in the 60s and 70s the Miura turned heads and the whole supercar world upside down. With V12 mid-engine setup it put Ferrari sports cars in the shade. This is one of 150 Superveloce with 385 horsepower.
One particular car would also fit on the court today in the category of concepts and one-offs, but it's not. It's here at the RM Sotheby's stand. It's a Bertone Nocio, if I spelled correctly, and it's a mid-engine V8 concept with, you see the lights are looking like the F430, but from the power numbers, I would guess it's 360 underneath. But yeah, looks very weird, especially if you look from the front. But actually a car you would never see again. This is one opportunity of the ICE in St. Moritz. And of course we have the stand of Pagani, very crowded at the moment. We've seen the cars yesterday as well, the Utopia Roadster and the Huayra Epitome, the last one of Huayra. But those two cars will be on the ICE right now, in the next scenes.
Another star has also driven it, albeit of the silver screen, Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley drove it in the film Sting. Ford's motif history as a racing car, as an engineering car, and has a connection to Elvis Presley. And I looked for that car, and then we finally event PT cars. Yeah, and that is a vintage, so it is that's the first kind of car, McLaren. It leads the way to the McLaren F1.
lässt Abstand, das heißt, jetzt macht er nochmal, ja. Now all the cars are on the grid out of the garage except for one. One place is free here, and that's a very special car. We've seen it yesterday on the streets, the Ferrari 250 LM. One of my favorite cars of the whole event and maybe one of the most expensive as well. But this car has a very special history, let's say it like this, because there was a crashed 250 LM in the 60s, late 60s, I think 1967. And this car crashed at the Targa Florio, and except for rebuilding the car for Le Mans, because the time was too short, they decided to build a new chassis with the parts and the engine of the original car. So the original chassis stayed at the workshop, and years later they built this chassis up again. So it's kind of a replica, but with the original chassis. So that's the one part of the history. But the owner who's here at the event bought the other car as well. So he had both cars, the replica with the original parts and the original chassis with the replica body, as you could say. But he put those two cars together. That's his history, of course. He put those two cars together, and now it's actually kind of a real car. But the committee of this event had doubts about the car being the replica or an original. So it was withdrawn from the event. It was really sad. That's such a shame, because it's the best car, the nicest car, the best looking car, the best looking 250 LM of all the world. I can't put it into words. It's such a shame that this car is not on the grid today, but back there in the garage. Hopefully they will have some discussions, some arguments, and the car can go on ice tomorrow, but I'm not very confident about that. We're just for a tour around town, and we have found some cars. Here there's a last Roadster, Banya Sana Road, Totem, electric. And first time we see these 499p, not on a trailer, but on the road itself. But yesterday here was the Formula 1 car, switched now with the Le Mans car with the 499p. And we have another special surprise on the ice. Next to the 275 from yesterday, we now have a F50. The F50 was in the park garage yesterday as well, but I haven't seen it very well, just over the barriers. So here, first time for me, this F50. And the SF90 XX Stradale, also new for me. Here's the Jesko again, and I think he's the reason for the traffic jam here. That's good. Oh, der ist grün. I think there's a Jesko in the roundabout. First we have this Carrera RS. Oh no! Missed it! Oh.
As the batteries of the microphone gave up and all the Concours cars were back in the garage, it was time for us to drive a little around town. Because every time you drive around in St. Moritz, you spot something new. Back at our hotel at Bernina Pass, I can tell you, after the ice vlogs, I will switch back to German. There was literally a shitstorm in the comments, which really surprised me, but I will do that favor to my loyal followers. Still, there's one long vlog and 2 short ones left in English, so see you tomorrow.
I think this car stole the whole show of the ice.